So we're going to work on another dimensional analysis problem and do a little bit more complicated one, and I want you to work along with me. It's good practice to practice. So work along with me as I write it down, pause the video and you write it down, and then see if you can work ahead of me to the answer, and just feel free to stop anytime along the video and see what I'm doing, correct yourself, watch it again, listen, just think. So let's try one. Suppose I say, how many seconds are in 40 years? Okay, how many seconds are in 40 years? So what are we going to start with? 40 years. And what do we want to end up with? We want to end up with seconds. So we know where we're going to start, we know where we're going to end up. This is going to take quite a few fractions unless you know a lot of factoids in your head already. It's going to make a really long fraction bar. I'm going to break it up into about 3 or 4 pieces and see where that gets me. I may have to add some more later. So start with 40 years. That's 40 over 1, so I put it in the top. Okay, now I'm headed towards seconds, so I want to break these years down into smaller pieces. So the best way to do years is to do it in days, because 12 months out of the year is fine, but every month doesn't have the same number of days, so that won't really get you a good fraction to work with. Doing it by weeks is fine also, 52 weeks in a year, but it's not exactly 52 weeks in a year. There's always going to be some days left over. So the best way to do it is to say that there's 365 and 1/4 days every year. So I'm going to put 1 year in the bottom and 365.25 days. I'm going to abbreviate days with a D because I ran out of space. In the top, I did this because I want years to be canceling out years from one of these fractions to the next. And do think of this as a fraction. That's 40 over 1. So I want you to cancel out years from one fraction to the next. If years is not in the top and here, and the years is not in the bottom here, then it won't cancel out properly, and you'll be all messed up when you get to the end of your problem. You'll have to start over, or you'll turn it in wrong. So we want to make sure we do that right the first go round. So there it is. We're going to cancel out years at this point. And now we've got days to deal with. We've got 365.25 days. We want days to cancel out into something smaller. There are 24 hours in every day. So I'm going to put 1 day in the bottom and 24 hours in the top. Again, I put day in the bottom here because I want to cancel it out with day in the top here. Now we do need more blocks. So I've got days canceled out. I'm on a roll. I need to cancel out hours. We're trying to get to seconds. There are 60 minutes in an hour. So 1 hour, 60 minutes. 60 minutes is in the top and hours is in the bottom, so the hours will cancel out with hours here and here. Okay, now I'm up to seconds now. I've got 60 minutes. I want to cancel out minutes and get seconds if I can. In 1 minute, there are 60 seconds. So I put minutes in the bottom here so that it will cancel out with minutes in the top here. Now all my letters have canceled out, all my words except for seconds. So I'm at the end. Now all I got to do is multiply all this out and figure out what my answer is. So I take my trusty calculator and I start with 40 times 365.25. That 0.25 on there is because every 4th year is a leap year, right? So we have 1 extra day at the end of February, a 29th day of February every 4th year. And so after 4 years, that 0.25 adds up to 1 full day. 24 is my next factor. Times 60 times 60 equals, whoa, that's a big number. That's 1,262,000,000 304,000 seconds over 1. You multiply all these ones by each other, eventually it adds up to nothing. Just a 1, which anything divided by 1 doesn't change the number. So that's my answer. Now, what I want to say about this is that a lot of kids want to put the big number in the top of the fraction no matter what. They're not sure really what they're doing. They don't understand, and I can tell they don't understand because they put the top number in the, they always put the big number in the bottom of the say the words. They put the big number in the top of the fraction. That's not what is supposed to happen. Sometimes that is what happens, but that's not what you automatically do. And you need to really understand that the top number is governed by what the words are and what the units are that you're trying to cancel out. If we want to say 24 hours and 1 day go together, we could just as easily flip this upside down and put 24 hours on the bottom and put 1 day on the top. It just depends on what we're trying to cancel out and what we're trying to end up with. So the next video will show an example of that.